It is absolutely unbelievable how the turnaround happened within less than 24 hours.
Harry is only coming back because he's got nothing to do in California. He's coming back because he's trying desperately to somehow rebuild a life here. It isn't going to work. Not only has he got nowhere to live, but these charities, the Well Child, it's all that's piffling. It's nothing in terms of the real charities. And in Invictus, he's got no important. He can do everything on the telephone or on the Zoom. Mm-hmm. He doesn't need to be back. No, this is Harry desperately trying to find and build a new life in Britain. My view, they come back for two reasons. One is they're desperate. It's the end of the run in California. They're out of money, out of luck, out of opportunities. They've hit the buffers, so to speak. But also they've come back because they're trying to worm their way back into the royal family.
Harry and Meghan have achieved 6 full tax years of non-UK residency in the last few days. This temporary non-residence rule for capital gains tax will save them money on any future global earnings. Now, people will say to me, oh, Kyle, you're being cynical. It's exactly the sort of thing that they do, those two, isn't it?
Now, here's where this particular story has a twist, and it tells you everything you need to know about the fickleness of Hollywood, the life that they were leading, and the life that Harry, according to my very well-placed sources, was desperate to escape.
Paperwork to be able to gain admission to the United States as I suppose you could say semi-permanent resident.
Meghan Markle's grand British comeback may have collapsed before the cameras even had time to warm up. And that is the controversy Buckingham Palace, Netflix, Hollywood, and the Sussex brand cannot quietly bury. Less than 24 hours after Meghan's name was suddenly tied to a major acting opportunity on Netflix's The Gentleman. The story flipped so violently it looked less like career news and more like a public warning. One moment, she was being positioned as the woman preparing to stride back into Britain with a glossy new role, a popular British series, a high-profile director, and the Netflix machine behind her. The next moment, the possibility was being described as off the table, leaving one brutal question hanging over everything. Was Meghan returning with a plan, or was the plan already falling apart? Before the scandal even reached full speed, there was another move, the Patreon announcement. Exclusive investigations, bonus videos, breaking royal news, members-only discussions, content not available on YouTube. Even that detail matters, because it frames the entire story as something bigger than ordinary entertainment gossip. This was not just another rumor about Meghan Markle's career. This was being presented as a deeper royal investigation, a trail of clues leading straight into the Sussex return, the British reaction, the Netflix connection, and the increasingly uncomfortable question of whether Harry and Meghan's post-royal empire still has enough power to command attention on its own. One moment, Meghan was being presented as a woman preparing for a dramatic return to acting in Britain. The next, that image began to crack. That is not a comeback. That is whiplash. And the timing could hardly be worse, because for days, the Sussex return to Britain had been sold as a massive reset. A fresh chapter. A chance for Prince Harry to rebuild old relationships. A chance for Meghan to create new opportunities. A chance for both of them to prove that leaving America was not an admission, that the grand Hollywood experiment had run out of steam. Then came The Gentleman. And suddenly there was an answer to the question everyone had been whispering. Why would Meghan, after years of keeping Britain at arm's length, suddenly spend more time there? The answer seemed almost too convenient. Maybe Meghan had a job waiting. Maybe Britain was no longer just the place she once escaped, but the stage for her next reinvention. A major British production, Guy Ritchie's World. Netflix, cameras, prestige, headlines, a role that could place Meghan right back in front of the public as an actress, not just a duchess, not just a lifestyle founder, not just Harry's wife. But then, the foundation started wobbling. There was no official Netflix casting announcement. No public confirmation from Guy Ritchie. No signed deal shown to the public. Only conversations, a possible role, and a wave of headlines that grew faster than the facts beneath them. Then came the reversal, and that is where the story became dangerous. The current claim is that the proposed opportunity was withdrawn after the reaction in Britain became too difficult to ignore. If that is accurate, Meghan has suffered one of the most awkward 24-hour turnarounds of her post-royal career. A A private discussion could have vanished quietly. A public comeback cannot. By allowing Meghan's possible involvement in the gentleman to become public before anything was finalized, the entire thing blew up in daylight. And now the most explosive question is not whether Meghan wanted the role. It is who let the story out before the deal was done. Because that leak, if it was a leak, may be the real scandal. If Meghan was genuinely in early discussions, why would anyone want those discussions splashed across the press before a contract was signed? Why create a public vote on Meghan Markle before the people making the show had even made their final decision? That is the exact opposite of keeping a sensitive negotiation under control. And if the story came from somewhere close to Meghan because somebody believed the publicity would create excitement, then the strategy may have backfired spectacularly. First, Meghan was linked to the role. Then, the headlines exploded. Then, British reaction became part of the story. Then, in less than a day, the opportunity appeared to disappear. That sequence is brutal because it turns a possible acting discussion into a referendum on Meghan herself. Every headline raised the stakes. Every reaction made the decision more awkward. Every hour made it harder to pretend this was just an ordinary casting conversation. And now there are only two uncomfortable possibilities. Either Meghan was close enough to the role for the story to have real substance, which means the publicity arrived far too early, or the talks were never as advanced as the headlines suggested, which means the comeback was inflated before there was anything solid underneath it. Both roads end in the same place. Meghan looks like she was racing ahead of reality. But the bigger story may not be the gentleman at all. The bigger story is that Meghan still needs something to work. Something has to become the next success. Something has to justify the move. Something has to turn the Sussex brand back into a premium product. And Britain may now be part of that strategy. The problem is that Britain is not automatically waiting to applaud. Some people wish Harry and Meghan well. Some say family relationships should be repaired. Some are willing to say welcome home. But one response keeps jumping out because it is even colder than anger, indifference. That is devastating in a completely different way. Anger still creates attention. Anger keeps a name alive. Anger can be sold, packaged, clipped, debated, monetized. Indifference is colder. After years of interviews, documentaries, books, speeches, revelations, feuds, and comeback attempts, some people are not furious anymore. They are tired. And if Harry and Meghan are returning because Britain offers a new stage, that stage is not guaranteed to cheer. If the public response is simply a shrug, the entire comeback becomes harder to sell. You can sell outrage. You can sell controversy. You can sell a royal feud. It is much harder to sell exhaustion. So the Sussexes need a new hook, a new project, a new image, or a renewed royal connection powerful enough to make people look again. And that brings the story to the strangest possibility of all. They may not need to become working royals again. They may simply need to look royal enough. They do not need the official job to benefit from the image. They need proximity. They need photographs. They need the royal connection to feel current again. And that is why Meghan's acting collapse, Harry's mounting financial pressure, and the British return are suddenly tangled together. This is no longer just a career wobble. It is the beginning of a much larger battle over relevance. The financial pressure surrounding Prince Harry suddenly becomes impossible to ignore, because this return to Britain is unfolding at exactly the same time as an increasingly ugly legal cost fight. It is important to separate the headlines from the facts. That does not mean Harry personally owes the entire $34.5 million figure connected to the wider multi-claimant legal dispute. The argument is over how much of those costs are ultimately recoverable, how much insurance may cover, and how much each claimant could eventually be responsible for. Even so, the exposure remains serious. Add another estimate suggesting that maintaining a high-level full-time security arrangement could cost around $5 million a year. It is only an estimate, not a confirmed annual bill, but the timing changes everything. For years, Harry insisted Britain could not safely protect his family. Now Britain is reportedly becoming home again. Did the danger suddenly disappear, or did something become even more important than the security argument? That contradiction follows every step back toward Britain. The answer being whispered again and again is brutally simple: money and position. The American experiment produced enormous headlines. Major commercial deals, Harry's best-selling memoir, interviews watched around the world, documentaries, speeches, and global attention. But look beneath every success, and one uncomfortable truth keeps resurfacing. Their biggest commercial victories were never built around Harry and Meghan as ordinary celebrities. They were built around Harry and Meghan as people with direct access to the British royal family. The Oprah interview mattered because it was about the monarchy. The Netflix documentary mattered because it was about the monarchy. Spare became a publishing phenomenon because a prince revealed life inside the monarchy. The royal connection created the value, and every year spent thousands of miles away in California slowly weakens that asset, while Britain naturally strengthens it again. That is why returning can make commercial sense even without becoming working royals. Imagine Prince Harry attending a major British charity event while Prince William carries out an official engagement the following day. Inside Buckingham Palace, those are completely different operations with completely different authority. To millions of casual viewers watching television, however, the distinction becomes blurred. Cameras flash, crowds gather. Harry delivers a speech. The words Duke of Sussex appear beneath his name. Meghan stands beside him. Suddenly they look royal again without officially being royal representatives. That possibility changes the balance of power, because appearance has always carried enormous value. Notice how quickly the language surrounding Meghan's acting story changed. It began with confident headlines about a British acting comeback and a major opportunity connected to Netflix's The Gentleman. Then the wording softened almost immediately into conversations, possibilities, potential roles, and nothing officially announced. That distinction matters, because Meghan did not lose a signed contract if no agreement existed. Yet, public perception creates its own reality. Once the headlines announced her return, the world stopped debating a private casting discussion and started judging whether Meghan herself had been accepted or rejected. That image damages the comeback regardless of what happened behind closed doors. That line may soon become the most important battlefield of all. Meghan's acting drama, Harry's legal costs, security questions, as ever, Hollywood's fading momentum, Britain's renewed importance, and the royal connection now collide at exactly the same moment. If Meghan quickly lands another major project, the narrative changes. If as ever suddenly accelerates, the narrative changes. If Harry quietly distances himself from royal symbolism, the speculation weakens. But if the Duke and Duchess of Sussex continue positioning themselves around royal-style events while commercial opportunities continue behind the scenes, the palace will notice, Prince William will notice, Britain will notice, and the argument over who truly controls the value of the Sussex royal connection will only become more explosive. The biggest battle may not be over returning to the monarchy at all. It may be over who owns the image of royalty itself. And that battle appears to be only beginning.